So most of the stories that I hear from students that have gone to school here, everybody has a deep love for Court Street School and the education that they received here. There's one, Norma Randolph and Lily Hendry, who used to be a past president here, that they always talk about the love that the teachers gave to the students, how everybody cared about each other. Based on what I could take away from that, I would say that when they were segregated, the education system was better for them. That's my takeaway from it.
So how would you feel about segregation today? Do you think that segregated schools would afford our children a more sound education?
To me, I think it would, based on the systemic racism and a lot of things that we have encountered and we still are encountering through the years of being integrated. I think that by us being taught by our own teachers and being with our own peers, that we can learn better from each other.
So you think that we would afford, being segregated, separate but equal?
Absolutely.
Educationally. Freehold is an interesting town. I think it was the last district in the country to integrate. And we know most of our family has gone through here. In fact, we have pictures. And my mother actually went through school here. And where is she?
She is somewhere.
It's right behind her, I think. Oh, here she is, right in this picture. Class of 1941. And I know, like we mentioned, like you spoke to Wilma Randolph and a couple of other people, Norma, about the interaction with the teachers here, with the women who lived in the community,
right,
traveled. How do you think we're affected by that educationally now, because teachers are coming from outside of the community? How do you think that affects our children from learning when they have teachers that are not from their community?
Well, from then to now, a lot has changed. So I really couldn't give you an answer on that. As far as the disparity between the cultures, because what's happening now is that even the teachers coming outside of the area, they have been trained in cultural sensitivity. So there's resources and information out there. So I think that they have to be, when you come into some of the schools now where the majority is culturally diversified, you have to have that background as well, and be able to, to work in that environment.
And be effective.
Absolutely.
Tell me a little bit about, because you're so involved in the community, tell me about downtown Freehold. We know Freehold is an interesting place, and our discussion about business and folks working and being a part of downtown Freehold. Have you seen any changes racially with black folks having the opportunity to own businesses downtown, work in businesses? Tell me about that.
So, in terms of downtown, since I've been here in the Freehold area, very little has changed. I do know that the black businesses that wanted to have their business downtown, the rents were so high that they couldn't afford to be downtown. And I also can tell you that in a lot of the just about all of the establishments, even in City Hall, in the local government or whatever, there has really never been any representation of black people. Maybe just one as a token in certain areas. Maybe my two cousins, they served on the fire department. There was a lady that worked in a water company. I think it's one in the borough hall now, but it's not enough of us to represent the Freehold community at large. And the businesses downtown, they don't hire blacks where you don't see them working there. And like I said, I've been here since 1960, and it's 2020. And
so you've seen no change.
Very little has changed.
What do you think needs to happen here in Freehold? And Freehold, it could really be a microcosm of other little towns also, for black folks to return to what we knew as a community. Back in the day when our family grew up here, when you knew everybody, what does it take for us to return to that?
Well, it's kind of hard now because given the fact that there is really no affordable housing and people are moving out, a lot of blacks have left the area. The ones that still are here today, they don't really understand what our ancestors and those before us had. So it's kind of different for them. Like everybody is on their own. Like the churches were the arena for everything to take place, and they would bring everybody together. But today, I've noticed in the churches that everybody has their own separate church. It's not even community minded. So for the community to be community minded, it has to start someplace where you have your platform, where all the churches need to come together and be on the whole, but they're not doing that. Everybody has their own thing going on. If I'm at this church, this is my thing. I'm not coming in the community. It's not like years ago, and I always reference, and I always say today, my pastor, the late Reverend Malcolm Steele, Reverend Malcolm Steele was a community person.
Yes, he was.
He walked the community, he lived in the community, everybody knew him, he went to all of the churches, and he kept us together. When anything was going on, he always let us know, and he made us a part of everything. Whereas the pastors today, it's about their church. It's not about the community. It's not about helping anyone. If we're doing voter registration, they should be in the forefront. Like in the civil rights movement, the churches made things happen. Today, these things that we're dealing with today, and I'm just saying the churches in my area because I know churches in like Woodbury, where Reverend Boyer is from, they are doing things and they're making things happen. There's some other areas I know in Morristown where Pastor Sidney Williams, they're doing things and they're making things happen. He has the Table of Hope there, a food pantry, and they go out and they deliver food and they're doing great things. So there's a lot of areas that we can work on. We're doing the census here now at Court Street School. We have a big event coming up on the 26th. We call it Family to Family Census Day Barbecue. So that's to bring families out and to let them know how important the census is. And you would think that the churches will partner with us and kind of like back us in these things and get the message out there because of their platform, but that's not really what you see today. So for us to really be a community, the churches need to get on board and they need to be more community minded like we were years ago. And they can be the forerunners in a lot of civil rights action, a lot of social justice issues. Pastor Steele, he was on the Human Relations Committee. Reverend Parrish was on the Human Relations Committee. The Juvenile Justice Committee, Reverend Malcolm Steele was on that, along with Miss Wilma Ham and some other people. So the people in the churches have a lot of influence, and people do hear them and they listen to them. So if they're out there rallying for the people in the community, a lot of things could get done. But that's not what's taking place.
So you mentioned a lot about bringing the community together with families, and I think that's great too, to have children involved, and like you said, how anxious your kids would be to just participate. What do you think we need to do to continue that, or to start it again rather? Because so many of our kids are disconnected from their communities. What do we need to do?
So what I see is that once kids get a certain age, they start straying away. We have to keep them engaged. So we have to find something that's going to attract them, to keep them engaged. If they're not going to college, maybe they're going to a trade school or whatever. We should have some programs here that guide them towards their career goals or what they want to do. Internship set up for them, working with people in business, in banking industries, in finances, in the school systems, in the police departments. They should have junior, whatever it is, and they should be putting these kids out there and like apprenticeships. And teaching them as they go along. So that right there in itself would give them the opportunity to, okay, this is what I'm doing now, but I can further this if I go to college.
Right.
Because I got the experience now. So I would like to give them the experience now, and then you go ahead and get the schooling, because a lot of jobs, and I have a BA in psychology, I work with people with MSWs and this, that, and the other, but a lot of people that I do work with that know better, they will say, I'm the senior person,
Right.
because she has more experience.
Right.
You know,
So it's the experience.
absolutely,
Experience
and that's what I
is
said,
the
because
foundation.
you can go on a job and you can have a master's, a PhD, or whatever, but if you don't have the experience, then you're no value to me.
Right.
But if you can come in here and run this program,
Right.
you know, that person with the NSW, the girl that I work with, she learned a lot from me. And she was thankful for the fact that, okay, Miss Trina is seasoned. That's what Mr. Dow told her.
Right.
Carly, you have to work under Miss Trina. I know you have a license, you know, whatever. He said, but she has the experience.
Right.
So you can learn a lot from her, and she was very thankful for the fact that she took a lot away from me. And I thank my friend Dwayne Birch, because I took a lot from him.
Yes, and we know Dwayne is very,
Absolutely.
Also, Trina, I really want to thank you, because I think also, not only do you have the experience, you care.
Absolutely.
And I think if you care,
It makes a big difference.
It makes a huge difference. So thank you to you and all of your cohorts at Court Street School.
Thank you so much.
And all that you do. And for those of you out there, please remember to support your Black organizations, your Black, community buildings, whatever there is in the community that can help to push us forward.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you for being here.